Yeah, it's great to have Andy Brickley with us, New England sports legend on a number of levels. And I told him when I first saw him today, he's lucky he's, after looking at his bio, alive. After all the injuries and stuff that you had, I mean, you really are a story, a working man's lunch pail story. Well, explain to people what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, that's my professional career. You know, my medical file is pretty thick, Bobby, as you point out. And but it's all about perseverance, love for the game, what you want to do for a living. I'm no different than a lot of professional athletes that had to deal with injury and come back from injury. But I seem to have more than the average. And you know, was it because I wasn't in shape? No, I don't think so. It's just the way the dominoes fall. You have to have the ability to play in pain, play with injury. It's what you want to do. And when you're not a star player, when you're a role player or a guy that's asked to do a variety of things, you can't miss too much time or someone's going to step in and take your place. So with that hanging over your head and the commitment to the game and what you want to do, you know, it was definitely manageable, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
I'm sure you wouldn't now that you're past and through it, but it's kind of ironic as a role player and a guy that had to scuffle his way in, that you did have so many injuries working against you. And let's talk about the face stuff first. And he actually scored a goal off of his face.
Yeah.
I remember I read that. But you can talk about the first one that was really bad off the face-off.
Well, yeah, I got hit back-to-back, almost a year apart, but pretty significant facial injuries. I was playing in Jersey before I came to the Bruins. I was on a checking line. We were playing the Blackhawks. We had the Savard-Secord-Larmer combination that we had to shut down. And we didn't win a ton of games that year in New Jersey, but that's one that we had in hand, 5-0. Third period, you know, I'm in coverage in front of our own net. Somebody takes a slap shot from the point. I don't see it. Next thing you know, it's in my mouth, and I'm missing 5 or 6 teeth, and I got 40 stitches. They've got to close a big gash in my face. And then that led to complications with infections and so on. Fast forward a year later, now I'm playing for the Bruins. We're playing Pittsburgh. Barrasso's in nets. We're having a tough time scoring goals. I'm playing with Bobby Sweeney. We got a good cycle going. We feed Ray at the point. Ray walks to the middle. I'm getting to the front of the net, ton of traffic. Ray tees one up, kind of got away from him a little bit. And again, same thing, right in the face, shatters my cheekbone. But off my cheekbone, just under the crossbar, tied the game at 3. So
Bork got an assist?
Yeah.
Huh?
I don't even think he thought he scored. He was out celebrating center ice. You know, I'm laying in a puddle of blood, but he wasn't really concerned.
Well,
yeah, you know, a couple of shots to the face, but a long way from the heart, right?
Yeah, it's a great way to look at it. But you also had rotator cuff stuff, and so it never ended really for you.
Yeah, both shoulders twice rotators.
It was a message. Somebody was sending you a message.
Yeah, both knees totally reconstructed. I don't got to tell you about
right
and so on, but. You know, and then I had that myositis the year before Cam got it, very similar. I had mine in my adductor. They had to take out a fist-sized piece of my adductor, reroute that major artery that feeds your leg. So it looked like my career was over. Here's a guy who can't afford to lose a step, was definitely going to lose a step. And then it's all about how bad you want to play.
It's like a medical show we're starting here. Yeah, how badly you want to play. But let's go back and kind of rewind and talk about, you know, your youth, how you got to love this game, how you ended up at UNH, walking on, playing for Charlie Holt, stuff that really kind of endeared you to the people here in New England.
You know, and given the position that I'm in now as a broadcaster and a voice of the Bruins, and I have an opportunity to be able to speak to young kids, and my story is a good story for them to hear because it is about perseverance and not being the best player on the top team as a kid playing youth hockey. You know, I was on the B team every first year at every level I played in. You know, when I got to high school, I was third set of D as a junior, you know, and then they moved me to forward by the time I was a senior. I was a walk-on going on trying to, you know, win a spot on a D1 school at the University of New Hampshire when I was told I wasn't good enough.
And they had good teams back then.
Yeah, absolutely. And
they still do. I'm just saying that they were a powerhouse.
Yeah, they had just won the East in '79, and
yeah.
I was going in there in the fall of '79. And it actually worked in my favor, Lobel, because they had graduated 10 or 11 guys. So here's a walk-on. We weren't great my freshman year, and because we weren't that good, I was going to get an opportunity eventually. It didn't come till December, but I finally got an opportunity to play some hockey for UNH. And then, you know, I had an opportunity to develop. I was a late bloomer. You know, go in there as a walk-on, end up being All-American. I mean, that's a pretty good story for kids to hear, that your dreams can come true if you just stick with it and believe in yourself and believe in the people around you. And then it just continued. The theme continued. You know, I was the last person drafted in the entire draft. And you know, they were
Mr. Irrelevant.
That's right. That's right. I never heard that term until it happened to me.
Mr.
So
Irrelevant.
there were 21 teams in the league, 10 rounds, I went 210. So I always joked that had I gone one pick later, I would have been first overall the next year. And then my bank account might look a little different. But.
Well, and we're clearly not making fun of this. We're clearly pointing out that it hasn't been an easy road for you.
It hasn't, but very rewarding.
Where did that perseverance come from? And where did that, I mean, there had to be a combination of perseverance and toughness.
Yeah, well, it's the way my DNA lined up. So you got to give a little tip of the cap to my folks, my mom and dad. You know, there were 7 children, 5 boys, so we were ultra competitive. I had 3 older brothers, and I'm the middle child, so maybe that has something to do with you know, that innate drive.
Who knows what the dynamics were, but whatever they were, they worked for you.
Yeah, and then you can get into your upbringing, you know, that instilled believability in yourself, but be able to handle criticism because it's going to come your way because you're not the best. And you know, I thought I was a great athlete, you know, and to this day, I think I'm a great athlete. And a lot of people have said, you know, Brick was one of the best athletes we ever saw. But now when you go from the small town of Melrose into the big school of fish that's UNH, then to professional hockey, you know, you're not the best player anymore. So it's how bad do you want it? And think about, when I broke into the NHL, I was trying to break into the NHL in '82, the league was maybe 3% American. And of that 3%, how many guys actually went to college? You know, we needed the Bobby Carpenters of the world to break down barriers. We needed the '80 Olympic team to break down barriers to give my generation a chance, at least for the powers that be, to say, wow, these Yankees can actually play.
You know, that's really interesting you brought that up because people, they see what they see now and they think that's the way it's always been. But when you talk about the Bobby Carpenters of the world and the hockey, the Olympic hockey team, no one ever thought that that was breaking down barriers. They just looked at those events as saying, well, Carpenter was special, the hockey team was special, but they don't realize the spin-off after that.
And the guys that were my age and the barriers that we helped break down for the guys like the Keith Kachuks and the Tony Montes that really took the U.S. and especially the Boston player to another level. We needed that '80 team really to set the stage, and then you had to follow it up and perform. And you know, I tell young people today that when I was playing, you know, in the American Hockey League as a first-year player, where I truly learned to be a professional, that I got paid to do this, and my job was in lieu of someone else that was trying to get that job, that needed that job because he needed the money to put food on the table, literally. You know, I was playing with men. This wasn't a 30-game country club college schedule. This is what you were doing for a living, and you had to earn it every day, and that was an experience I needed to live through in order to understand what it meant to be a pro.
Now, most people would think that to succeed with the talent that you had, or where you lined up with the people, the men that you were playing with, you'd have to be really a tough guy, and you'd end up being a goon. I mean, am I right? I mean, a lot of guys survived at your level by doing that.
Right.
But now I must ask you, how much of a fighter were you?
Well, you're hitting the nail on the head because that was the next stage, and that's where I'm going in the conversation because I got challenged, not just in games, but in practice, you know. How bad do you want this? And because the game was different back then, it was a lot more violent. And you're seeing a lot of concussions in the game today, and that's an issue.
I was just going to, you read my mind about.
Well, but, you know, you handled it by dropping the gloves back in the day, you know, I'm going back 20, 30 years.
And no helmets.
No helmets.
And easier.
Well, we wore helmets unless you signed the waiver, but yeah, there was less protection certainly, and it was a lot more accepted, you know, that you had to answer for yourself. And you didn't do it with a stick, you had to drop the gloves. And especially being that American college kid that was coming in. And I got challenged in practice, I got challenged in games. And toughness comes in a lot of forms. If you're going to have the puck, be around the puck, make plays, be a good offensive player, you better have an element of toughness to your game because you're going to get hit. And you're going to be around the puck, you're going to be around the net, you're going to get a lot of physical attention. So that's a part of the toughness game that I prided myself on. I didn't like the fisticuffs, but I had to do it early just to let them know that I'm here and I'm here to stay. And once you get beyond that, if you're a clean, respected player, then the fighting really doesn't have to be part of the game for you once in a while. And that's kind of the process that I went through. Had to fight early, fought in practice, fought early in games, especially in the American League. But I don't think I ever had more than 30 minutes in the season, to be honest with you, as far as the penalties.
So you had to set the boundaries early for you and make that statement.
And treat the sport and the players you're playing against with respect. Be physical. Hit. You know, I had my share of great hits. Knocked out Ryan Walter with a great check.
The things you remember.
5-on-5 brawl.
Right, well.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I remember the Hockey News or Hockey Digest. This was when I was a rookie in Pittsburgh, and the Hockey Digest came out with a big, huge centerfold article saying, you know, Pittsburgh's young enforcer, and I was like, no. Let me go buy every copy. I don't need anybody seeing this.
That's very funny. That's very funny.
Yeah. So yeah, you play the game the right way, and you get respect.
What about? I mean, you've done such a great and easy, it seems, transition. It may not have been so easy for you, but it seems like it has been to the broadcast booth. But I'm sure you've been asked this 100 times, but coaching, it seems like you would have been a natural behind the bench for some team.
I heard that a lot, Lobie, when I was forced to retire or made the decision to retire because of all the injuries. That seemed like a natural progression for me. Good with people, X's and O's, played every possible role.
But there's a but coming here.
Yeah, you're hired to be fired. There's not a whole long shelf life in one place. It's a transient job. The time commitment is huge. I had a young family. And I actually, and this is probably a bad message to send to people that are aspiring play-by-play or analysts, they came to me. You know, I was part of a small subset of former players that, you know, WBZ Radio, you know, was looking for a Bruins analyst. And they came to me and said, you know, we'd like you to come in and audition based on their criteria. And I was offered the job. And I thought I'd give it a try. And I found out that I liked it.
Yeah.
And I fought.
Beats working
I
for
fought the people that wanted me to get into coaching. I fought myself.
So how many? When you say people, okay, let me talk. The people that wanted you to get into coaching. Are you talking about family? You're talking about friends? You're talking about executives in the National Hockey League?
Exactly. People that.
So you've had opportunities.
At least to go in and make a case for myself, you know, and sit down and have a conversation with people that were looking for coaches, whether it was at the American League level or the NHL level. Yeah. And because I wanted to be in Boston, and because I had a young family, and it was time for me to now put them first instead of my career, you know, because I was playing in places like Salt Lake City and Denver and Moncton, you know, at the end of my career, and my wife and girls were in Boston. It was time for me to be a husband and father for a change. Yeah. So I had an opportunity to be in Boston, work in Boston. Coaching had to take a.
That's an interesting. Well, it seems like a logical decision, and it seems like a great piece of luck. Something. It finally went your way. The broadcasting thing. Okay, we've beaten this guy up long enough. It's time to give him a chance to shine. And
yeah, and that was not an easy decision too. You know, here I am. My last surgery, which we didn't cover early on in the conversation, was I had back surgery, and somebody was telling me, okay, you had a good run, but your body's beat up, it's given out, you got to find something else to do. But as an educated, fairly educated guy, a guy that thought he was smarter than most players, aware of what was going on in the world, aware of what his opportunities were, his responsibilities were, I thought the transition from being an athlete, being a player, to going to the broadcast booth would be seamless. And maybe it appeared that way.
Yeah, well,
I miss playing.
Well, you know what?
God, did I miss playing.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you realize that?
No. I thought it was
what,
no big deal.
You probably, I think a lot of people don't realize they would miss the structure. It's just the structure of your life. It's the routine of going to practice, of being involved with guys in the locker room, etc. But
and it's your identity. It's who you are.
Yeah.
You know, but all of a sudden there's this big void in your life, and you don't know how to fill it, and you don't get the same satisfaction professionally of what you're doing. You don't see the guys on a daily basis. You miss that structure, and you miss the road trips and that whole camaraderie thing. You feel like I didn't go out on my terms.
Yeah.
I didn't say, all right, I'm going to leave this game when I want to leave.
It sounds very familiar. I get that. You miss it. You didn't think you were going to, but you do really miss it. And I think, fortunately, you've been able to at least transition to something now that you have a different identity, and it's every bit as good as the one you had before, maybe better.
Well, I'll tell you.
It's got, actually, it got you a ring. It got you a ring. We got to show you that.
Yeah, and that's where I was going to go, that I guess maybe the best thrill, the greatest piece of recognition that I could have gotten in this new job, not so new anymore.
Not so new.
For a dozen years now, but when the Bruins, with that great run in the Stanley Cup, and the first Cup in 39 years, and to be a small part of it, and to cover this team.
It came out of nowhere.
Then to be asked to be center stage, opening night ceremony at the podium at center ice in the Garden.
That's who you are.
I mean,
That's
never thought that would ever happen.
The kid from Melrose.
Exactly.
Walk on at UNH.
Unbelievable.
What am I doing here?
Unbelievable. I'm blessed.
It's a beautiful ring.
Yeah, proud to wear it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful ring. Although I'm sure there's some part of you that said, I wish I would have had one playing it, but the hell with it. I got it, and that's that.
Yeah, I won some championships at the American League or the IHL level, and been to finals at every level, including the NHL, that 90s series. I'm not sure if we would have won the Cup had we won Game 1, but I would have liked to have seen what would have happened if
Those were
Klima was.
Those were amazing times, huh?
Pretty heady stuff, that building, that team, with that jersey, that organization, with the special players that we had, and it was a special group, and I missed it. Would have liked to have seen a different result. That would have been pretty cool, but no regrets. We gave it all we had, and our lives are better for it.
Well, coming back to Boston and playing, at least for a while, with that uniform on, and being a local kid. You're not the only one. There's other guys that have had that chance. Carpenter had that chance.
Oh, sure.
Jim Craig actually had a shot at it. And some of these guys, that probably stands out. Like you just mentioned, it's
best 4 years of my career.
Really?
Yeah. 88 to 92.
No, these are the best 4 years. These are the best. No, you got it wrong. This is the best part of your career.
I look back at those 4 years as a Bruin as the fondest part of my
everything that you. Every uniform you put on, every stick you held, every goal you scored prepared you for this broadcasting job.
True, but that day I got to put the Bruins jersey on, and when I came here, I was coming from Jersey. We just lost to them the year before in that '88 series, that 7-game series. The first year Boston beat Montreal, then they had to play us, the Cinderella team, before they went and played Edmonton. And we had a special group in Jersey.
Who was the coach back then?
For us,
yeah.
In Jersey, Jimmy Schoenfeld.
Who played? Oh yeah, right. Were you on that team? Right.
Sure.
Have another donut, you fat pig, right? I can see that video. I can.
Yeah. Well, I lived it. I was right there when it was happening. And, we thought we were gonna beat the Bruins, but we lost in that epic Game 7. But coming the next year and being a Bruin and putting that sweater on, and I was living at my mother's house because I came in the waiver draft in October, and I needed to have some place to have a roof over my head. But I would come home from practice, and my brothers would be like, "It must be pretty cool, skate with the Bruins,
Yeah.
But I could handle it because I was 28. Had I come to the Bruins maybe right out of college or been 21 or 22, would I have been prepared for that? I don't think so. So I had that advantage of having 7 pro years under my belt to come in with a maturation level that I could put things in order.
Well, you have been blessed in a lot of ways. Certainly with Diane. We don't deserve her. But I'm glad we had a chance to sit down and talk and give people some insight. You really are a natural behind the mic. I really, and of course, I'm not going to get into working with Jack. That's a whole different skill set. But I really think that you do a fantastic job, and people. I don't know how much criticism you get. I doubt that you get much of any. Do you? You always.
If they're saying it, I'm not hearing it.
That's it. Right.
That might be the approach to take.
No, I think you're.
It's what I know, though. Hockey's what I know. I truly believe that I'm on this earth to be involved with the game somehow, some way, and I got to play it. Now I get to educate, entertain a little bit, tell you why things are happening because I've been between the boards, and if I can do that the right way, be concise, make my point, let Jack do his thing, and enjoy what we're doing, and allow the viewer to understand that we enjoy each other, enjoy what we're doing, and I think we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, the chemistry's really good, and it always helps to have a winning team.
Yes.
There's nothing beats having a winning team. Andy, thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it was great seeing you. I really enjoyed talking with you.
Thanks.
But Andy Brickley, that's it. New England Sports Legends. Bob Lobel, thanks for being with us.